Welcome students, welcome to the class of estimation, costing and specification. So in earlier classes we were discussing about the concepts related to tenders. So when we talk about the tenders, there are a few important terminologies regarding the method on which the construction of a project depends upon. So basically in today's class we'll be discussing some technical things such as BOT, BOOT and PPP. These are nothing but these are the nature of the projects. What I can say is this is nature of the project on which this tendering process is dependent upon, or this terms denotes the relationship between the client and the contractor, or you can say owner or the executing party, or the nature of relationship between two contracting parties. So BOT is nothing but build, operate, transfer. Okay. BOOT is nothing but build, own, operate, transfer. And PPP is public private partnership. So in this concepts we'll be dealing about what is the need of PPP, definitions of PPPs in India, objectives, advantages, when should this public-private partnership should be used, when should, what are the risks involved, and types of public-private partnerships. That includes BOT, BOOT, FP is full privatization, and we will see about the analytical comparisons between these two. Let us see the analytical comparisons also. So first of all, let us talk about why PPP. What is PPP and why PPP in infrastructure? PPP stands for public private partnership. When we talk about public is nothing but government. Either it can be our state government or either it can be a central government. So public denotes governments either at the state level or at central level. Private in the here in the sense a businessman or a private entity or a private business company who are in either it can be a foreign company or it can be a national company who does that does not concern with the government activities. It is that is not basically a government organized company. It may be a private individual company. And partnership, the partnership between government and other private companies, we call it as public private partnership. So why we use this, where we use this public private partnership? We use it in the infrastructure development such as roads, transportation systems, water and sanitation networks. So basically this laying of road, for example laying of national highway, it is a matter of kilometers, hundreds of kilometers. The length of the national highways will be in 100 kilometers. So in such a large scale projects, when we talk about water and sanitation works, laying of pipelines from one place to another, it also involves a majority, a great amount of work. So that also we call it as in that large scale developments also there can be a public private private partnership can exist. They involve large investments that can put a strain on the public purse. This strain is especially great for countries such as India, whose economies are undergoing rapid development and urbanization and have a great need for expanded infrastructure. As we know that what happens if a normal contractor builds our road, you can see in our colonies also, if a contractor builds a road in our colony, it hardly what exists in good condition for 1 year or 2 year. If the same case is with national highways, it affects the economy of the country. So there we cannot compromise the quality of the project. So their quality is also important, and time within which this things will be completed, this is also very much of importance. So we need to consider the both factors over here. To consider these both factors such as the quality and also the time, which cannot be achieved with a normal or government authorized contractors, what we do is we entertain a private partners which takes money, which charges money a little bit more, but they gives us a good assurity of doing this works. So the next regarding public-private partnerships are increasingly being used by the government and public sector authorities throughout the world as a way of increasing success to infrastructure services for their citizens and economics at a reduced cost. So this is the need of public-private partnership. Okay. The next definition of public-private partnerships in India. What happens here? The government at one hand and the private sector at another hand. This mutually work with each other for the public's benefit, such as the government. What does government do? Suppose there is a project of laying a national highway. What government does? Government gives permission for laying the national highway for 100 kilometer or 200 kilometer or 300 kilometer. What private sector? Suppose when we talk about private sector, what is private sector? Suppose we know a company called L&T. L&T is nothing but a private company. Okay, if a road has been laid, if a national highway has to be laid, it comes under central government. Who is the government over there? Central government. Central government is public. L&T company is private. So public private partnership. So here, if a national highway contract is being done with L&T, which is given by central government, this is nothing but public private partnership. Okay, here the public is central government, private is our individual private companies such as L&T, and they work together and they build the road for the benefit of public. So what happens? The government gives permissions, and the private sector, what private sector does, it invests the money, whatever the charges of laying the road occurs, that will be given by private sector, and they will fix a time period between 2 or 3 years we will be completing this project. So that will be done. So that occurs at this mutual collaboration of public and private parties is for public benefit. That's why we call it as public private partnership. According to the Department of Economic Affairs and the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, an arrangement between a government or statutory entity or government-owned entity on one side and a private sector entity on the other for the provision of public assets and or related services for public benefit through investment being made by and or management undertaken by the private sector entity for a specific time period where there is a substantial risk sharing with the private sector, and the private sector receives performance linked payments that conform to specified predetermined and measurable performance standards. So I'll explain you. Suppose there has to be a construction of airport in the Hyderabad city. We already have an airport, or let us assume that there is one more airport has to be built in Telangana. So what happens? Airport Authority of India comes under central government. What central government does? It invites tender. What does it do? It says that we need to build one more airport in Telangana, so private companies can bid for that. So what these private companies such as GMR is one of the company, L&T is one company, and there are many more to name. Okay, this company says to government that, see, we will build we'll build the desired airport for you, and we will own it for some period of time till the time where our investment. Here the central government just allots land. Okay, after that whatever the cost on infrastructure for constructing, that will be borne by private entity or private company. Suppose for construction of airport, let us assume that 2000 crores of money is required. That 2000 crores of money will be invested by a private company. Okay, so what does private company says? We'll build this airport and we will keep all the facilities, will keep all the income generated through this property for a certain period of time. so that we recover our 20,000 crores or 2,000 crores of money what we have invested, and our profit, the profit will be around 10% or 20%, whatever that. After that we will hand over the total airport for government operations, there whatever the profits generated that you can take. So this sort of agreement will be made between the two parties. Okay, that is nothing but public company and government and private company. Objectives involved in a public-private partnership. What is the objective? Increase the availability of infrastructure services. This collaboration of public and private is in the interest of public benefit. Public benefit in the sense as citizens benefit. The next, to do so with greater efficiency. What do we mean by greater efficiency? Lower cost and level of service provided than could be achieved using the traditional public sector approach. Far better performance or far better execution than public sector execution. Advantages of public-private partnership. Access to private sector finance. Here the government money is not on stake. Here there is a very less risk associated with government. All the money will be invested by private parties, so there is no risk on government. Efficiency advantages from using private sector skills and from transferring risk to private sector. As we have known that in the private sector there are more skills when compared to skilled persons, when compared to government, when compared to the people working in the government. So what happens is there is a transfer of risk, that skills we can use, and the transfer of risk can also be from public, it can be transferred to, from government it can be transferred to a private company. Potentially increased transparency. In the private sector, when this a project is executed by the private sector, there will be less scans, there will be less involvement of ministers and all, so there is a maintained transparency over there. Enlargement of focus from only creating an asset to deliver of a service, including maintenance of the infrastructure asset during its operating lifetime. This broadened focus creates incentives to the reduced the full life cycle cost, that is construction cost and operating cost. What happens, which this broadened focus, see, when a government is constructing a certain thing, it has various issues to look after. It should look at the governance, okay, it should look at the management and all. But when a private sector is building a project, so what happens, its total focus will be on that project only. That company will have no other work instead of concentrating on this project. So this broadened focus, what does it does? It reduces the full life cost of a building. All these reasons provide strong reasons in favor of using public-private partnerships in India or elsewhere. Okay. This figure shows the investment of public-private partnership models in India. The following chart shows the increasing trend of investment in the infrastructure through public-private partnerships during the period of 1990 to 2008. As you can see in the figure, what is happening as you look into the figure from 1990 to 2008, look at the increasing trend. Okay, sometimes there was a fall in 2003, 2005, but after 2005 there is a constant increase. There is a constant increase in the investments through public-private partnership. When this public-private partnerships has to be used, the public sector environment is suited for supporting public-private partnerships. The project is suitable to be carried out as public-private partnership. The potential barriers to successful project implementations have to be identified and can be overcome. Given that these conditions are satisfied, the project must be commercially viable for the private sector and offer value for money for the public sectors. These are certain, what we can say, conditions that has to be analyzed before and implementing a public private partnership. First of all, the public sector should be ready and should support the idea of the private company. If L&T has to construct something, for a private company such as L&T has to construct something, the public sector here is nothing but a government also should provide a support to this private company, suppose by allocating land or by minimizing taxes for them. So this sort of favors has to be done to the private companies. The project is suitable in the sense whatever money which we are investing, that has to be a the project which we are building through public private partnership, it should benefit both, it should benefit government as well as it should benefit private party. How it will benefit the government? It will benefit the government by lending its services. It gives the it helps the government by providing the essential services to its citizens, and by for private company by generating some revenue. Suppose if they have invested 100 crores into that project, what happens? They should recover that 100 crores, as well as there should be a some profit, minimum profit, around a 10% profit on their invested money. So this has to be a suitable project. The potential barriers to successful project implementation have to be identified and can be overcome. As I have said it in above line, what we need to do, we need to carry out the calculations for project being successful or not. The next, as we have discussed it already, it should offer a value for money to the public sector. The project which we have built, it should be a worthy one. Either it should transfer the it should be good, it should give the good value in returns by risk, a critical focus on public private partnership design. Okay, what do we mean by risk? Risk is a chance of an event occurring which could cause actual project circumstances to differ from those assumed when forecasting project benefits and cost. So this is nothing but a definition of risk. Risk is nothing but it is an event. We call risk is an chance of an event occurring which should cause actual project circumstances. See, when we plan something accordingly, this will happen in this manner. If there is a sudden changes in that action of the plan, okay, what happens? It leads to a risk event. Okay, the parties involved in a project can affect the amount of risk by the level of influence they have over events. Okay, the level of information they have about the present and the future. So amount of the risk, whether the risk in the sense, when we talk about the risk is associated with losses. Okay, losses and disputes. Amount of risk, whether whether we can minimize that risk or we are completely overburdened by the risk, that amount of risk will be dependent upon the level of influence, one thing, then level of information is the another thing. For example, when we talk about the influences they have over the event, in the public sector it has certain powers and advantages in the process of land acquisition. That means it is something better suited for this task and taking the associated risk. That risk what we need to do is we need to distribute the risk. Suppose the construction thing, that risk will be borne by a private entity, whereas this land acquisition and all, that should be borne by government agencies. So what happens, in this case, neither of these two parties is overburdened completely. Okay, there is a distribution of risk. By private sector, the private sector is exposed to the competitive pressures that force it to establish improved management strategies. It is also often the technology leader. This means it may be a better suited for managing the design and the construction risk. Okay. The options available for public private partnerships. Okay, that is nothing but the first one. It is in comparison of this options are in the form of extent of public sector participation. In the first, work and services contract. For an project, there can be only work and service contracts given to the private parties. Here, the participation, extent of participation for this work and services contract is very low. When we go for next, management and maintenance contracts. Okay, so what happens? It is a somewhat more participation will be given in management and maintenance contract. As it goes towards the full privatization, there will be a complete role of private parties in an involvement of the project, we can say. Okay, so management and maintenance of the contracts we have, operation and maintenance concessions we have, build, operate, transfer. That's what BOT means, build, operate and transfer things. Full privatization. In full privatization, what happens? There is a no role of public sector into that everything whole and soul will be deal with a private entity. In full privatization, what happens is the private sector assumes ownership of the infrastructure. It builds, it designs, it operates and maintenance and finance. Everything will be done with a private entity. There is a no role of government in full privatization projects. Responsibility of the sectors. As you can see, this is nothing but a responsibility matrix. Okay, the type of project: design, build, bid and build. So the design will be given by private by a free contract. Okay, by a fee contract. Build, private by a fee contract. Operation and maintenance will be done by public in the sense government. Finance is also given by the government, and the infrastructure also belongs to the government. So this is nothing but this comes under design, bid and build thing. The next option we have design and build. In design and build, this both design, it will be done by private contract. Okay, rest all it is also the same. Operation and maintenance will be done by public entity, finance also public entity, ownership will be also retained with the public thing. Management of contract. In management of contract, what happens is only design and build, that is already this is for already existing building. Okay, operation and maintenance will be done by a private company with a fixed contract fee. Rest finance and ownership retains with the public. What happens is then the main important thing is nothing but build, operate, transfer concessions, BOT or BOOT. In this happens, what happens is design, build and operation. This all done. Look at the last column. Okay, last but second column. Design, build and operation will be done by private entities, and the ownership will be transferred to public only after successful recovery of the investment as well as profits of the private entity. Then only this ownership will be transferred. Okay, this is a thing with build, operate, transfer concessions. So let us talk about build, operate, transfer, BOT. In this approach, a private party or concessionary retains a concession for a fixed period from a public party called principal client for the development and operation of a public facility. The development consists of the financing, design and construction of the facility, managing and maintaining the facility adequately and making it sufficiently profitable. The concessionary secures return of investment. This is the main what we can say clause under this build, operate, transfer thing. Whatever the money which a private party has invested, it needs a recovery of those investments. It needs an assured recovery of those investments as well as profits. Secures returns of investment by operating the facility, and during the concession period the concessionary act as a owner. At the end of the concession period, the concessionary transfer the ownership of the facility to the principal at no cost. The most common examples are road, bridges, water and sewer systems, airport, ports and public buildings. For example, let us see the construction of an bridge, or let us see the construction of a national highway. In the national highways there can be two scenarios, BOT, BOOT. What is BOOT? We will see it in the next, but mostly BOT and BOOT are almost the same with a minor differences. What happens when we decide to construct anything, a highway, so government gives the land. When all the investments will be done by the private sector, okay, after the construction of that project they hold. For example, the toll plazas, these toll plazas will be collected by a this toll plazas money will be going to the private sector. Why it is going to the private sector? Because they have invested, they have built the road on their cost, they have not taken the money from the government, they have invested their money, so they are recovering that. They will recover the amount invested as well as their profit. Once after 10 years, 15 years and 20 years, what happens is when they recollect their invested amount as well as the profit, that will be now government property, that they transfer it to the government property. That is nothing but build, operate and transfer. The next, what are the stages occurs in the BOT project? First of all is nothing but preliminary study, whether this project is feasible or not. The next is selection process, project implementation. After project implementation, there comes the three things: construction, operation and transfer. Construction in the sense built, operation in the sense O, transfer in the sense T. Built, construction will be done by a private person, operation will be done by a private person. By operation, by doing the operating, okay, they recover the cost which they have invested in that project and they recover their profits. Once they have recovered their invested money and the profits, they will transfer that property to the government. That is nothing but stages involved in BOT project. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are nothing but utilization of private sector's investment instead of public sectors. Here the public money is not invested, it is a private party who have got their funds invested in an project. Transferring all the risk to private sector. Here the government plays the safe game. Transferring technical knowledge is one of the most important benefits of this method for developing countries. These private sectors who have very skilled laborers, they transfer this technology to the public sectors. So this transferring of technology plays a, suppose foreign companies comes to our country and they transfer their technology to our country. So this is nothing but advantages. When we look at the disadvantages, very complicated from viewpoint of technical and financial issues and needed high level experts and consultants. For this, allocating this project or to give the permissions of this project, the government should also think whether these private companies are not deceiving the public, and they should not deceive the public, or they should not lure the more money. Okay, they should not harass the public, or they should not overburden the its citizens by recovering its cost. So there is a very complicated financial and technical issues. Increasing expenditure of users in the operation time. Contract between benefit of private sector with public sector. The next is build, own, operate and transfer. This is nothing but it is almost similar to BOT, build, operate, transfer, but there is one more word added over there, own. What is the significance of this own word? Let us see. It is a founding model and a form of concession in which public authority makes an agreement with a private company to design, build, own and operate a specific piece of an infrastructure such as power, transport, water and telecom industries within receiving the right to achieve income from the facility under a period of time. Concessions period approximately is 15 to 25 years and later transferring it back to the public ownership through a single organization or consortium. The earned income can be based on a variety of arrangements in the fixed of annual fee to the measured quantity supplied, unit rate or take or pay arrangements such as tool plaza or something like that are effective two parts of tariff expressed in a different manner. Here in earlier build operate transfer there is a the private parties does not hold its accountability or does not hold its ownership on an infrastructure project, whereas in build own operate transfer thing what happens is the private parties also have its share in an infrastructure project for 15 to 25 years. They can what we can say they can hold the accountability of ownership on an infrastructure project in BOOT model. Advantages is strong financial incentives for the BOOT operator. Okay, risk mitigation through the involvement of multiple participants. Increase the project certainty and early interest recovering through involving a BOOT operator. Efficient designs, high accountability. These are nothing but advantages of the BOOT. Where it comes to the disadvantages thing, higher cost for the end user due to the BOOT provider accountability of 100% financing and going on maintenance. The maintenance has also to be done by this entity only. Time consuming and recovering, hurry management and monitoring of the operating contract with the BOOT operators. Requirement of rigorous selection process in selecting a BOOT partner. So what happens is here the risk allocation will be somewhat on private parties as well as on the public entities. What happens is the government here also gets accountable in terms of managing it as a private partnership will be owing the infrastructure owning this infrastructure for certain period of the time. So there is a less risk associated to the private parties over here. Full privatization is nothing but it is the private sector assumes ownership of the infrastructure project. It designs, it builds, operate and maintenance and the finances. Everything will be done by private party only. So these are nothing but these are the components BOT, BOOT, full privatization. These are the components of the public-private partnership. I hope you people have understood this. Let us continue it in our next class. If you have any doubt, you are free to contact me. Okay, thank you. Please comment your attendance in the comment box, and for doubts you can contact me.